Hari Om, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Shri Ram. I am Chandra Kesavan and I belong to Tamil Nadu. My parents were Kesavayar and Lakshmi Ammal. My father had a deep spiritual inclination from his childhood, and he used to sit in meditation for hours and hours in bamboo forest. And because of his spiritual bent, he came across some spiritual literature and he learnt about Bhagwan and Seshadri Swamigal. He had made only a couple of visits to Ramanashram. So once, it must have been around 1950, I was about 2.5 years old. And it was during the last days of Bhagwan, and they had the barricade before him. People were allowed to just pass before him and pay the respects to him, and they were not allowed to stay for long in front of him. So, and my mother was holding my hand. My father first passed and he paid his respects. We are not allowed to do real prostration, just bow our head and fold our hands before him. So my father passed, then my mother was holding. When she was doing that namaskar with her folded palms, she let go of my hand and I also did the same. Bhagwan was not looking on the side passers-by at that moment, he was looking straight. And my mother just went forward taking a few steps. Then she looked behind, I wasn't following her. And she called me silently, but I refused to budge. I was looking at Bhagwan and I said again Namaste. And she came forward because she didn't want to cause any commotion. She came forward and she tried to pull me by hand, but no, I wasn't going to leave that place. It seems that I wanted Bhagwan to look at me and acknowledge my Namaste. And this little commotion created a rustle, and Bhagwan slowly turned his head and looked in my direction. It seems I said again Namaste. And he nodded so nicely and smiled so beautifully at me. Only after this, it seems I left that place. And my parents were very pleased because I had Bhagwan's Nayana Diksha. What they couldn't get, I got it. Maybe my mother got it partially because she was standing by me. And they were so happy, and they used to repeat it often and often. And it was really Nayana Diksha from Bhagwan. It was the first spiritual initiation for me. Probably he imparted something to me which kept me on this track. Much later, when I was in the early 20s, maybe 22 or 23, I had finished college. I had just joined the college as a lecturer. And my younger brother, he was in college, first year or something. And as sisters and brothers, we used to have a lot of quarrels and all that. One day my father was sitting on the cot, my brother and I had some altercation, and in that process he said something harsh, which a younger brother should not have said to a elder sister. It was not even that. My father was sitting there as a witness and he wasn't interfering or he wasn't reprimanding my brother. That went very deep into my heart. Then morning I got up and I didn't have much money, and I went and collected a little bit money from one of my colleagues, and I told her I need a little bit money, so I left. But I didn't know where to go because I knew of only two ashrams. One is Kanchi ashram, the other one is Ramanashram. And I had heard that Kanchi ashram, they don't entertain young girls and women like that. So I thought, okay, Ramanashram is where I should go. So I landed in front of the ashram at 8 o'clock. I came into the ashram. Those days women were not staying in the ashram. So it must have been either 1970 or 71. And they packed me off to President's house. Mami was there, Nagama Mami was there. She was all love. And she gave me food and bed and all that. She spoke so lovingly. Morning she sent me to ashram with the and mind was not at rest because I had come away, and that sting was still in my mind. The sting of my father had been the sting of my father being only a witness. That was a sting, not that my brother spoke those words. It was still in my heart. So I came and sat in front of Bhagwan's shrine in Samadhi Mandir. Just a few minutes, maybe not more than 2 minutes must have passed. Suddenly see, those days I had not really read much of spiritual literature or anything that would talk to you about peace, that bliss, That transcendental state I had not really read. My father used to go into meditation for hours and he won't be aware of his surroundings. I knew that, but what state it was I never knew, and I was too young to go through pain and as a result what it is to be happy. It was just a normal happy life, so I didn't know. It was a sukh life, so I didn't know about dukh. So as a result, I didn't know much about peace. And I sat, 2 minutes must have passed. Suddenly, it's immense. Today, I am able to say all that. It was a vast expanse of peace. It was akanda peace, akanda shanti. I wouldn't say it enveloped me. Probably, I was put in the midst of that immense peace. It surrounded, and I won't say I lost body consciousness, but my identity with the body was disconnected, or it became very slight thread. It was not a very strong thread. On the hand, I was immersed in that peace. Immersed means immersed, and it had no end. That expanse of peace had no end, and it was a new experience for me. I didn't know it was a spiritual experience. It was a wonderful, I wouldn't even say all that, because those thoughts didn't come to my mind. I was just enjoying, I was abiding that expanse of peace. That is the only way to put it. And it lingered on probably till afternoon. After that, all that burden from my heart also was lifted. All that had evaporated, because all that I wasn't even conscious. By evening, it was so peace for me, no agitation, no conflict in the mind. And the mommy sent an escort with me next day to Virupaksha cave and Skandashram. She gave me an English book that was Paul Brunton's Maharishi and his message, and reading that made such an impact on me. I sort of thought, okay, probably Bhagavan had given me that peace which he had experienced. That was the time I realized it is a kind of state which Bhagavan had bestowed on me by his immense unbounded grace. Then that taste was there. That taste brought me back. And also he solved my problem, personal problem for which I had come to Bhagavan next. So this is my second and a very profound experience which brought me back to Bhagavan more often, repeat, not very frequently, but it gave me an abiding love for Bhagavan. Bhagavan took his seat in my heart. He became my personal deity actually. And later I was initiated into a mantra. That time they asked me who is my favorite deity. I said Ramana. No, one God. I said he is the only God. I know I don't have any other God apart from Ramana. And he was seated in my heart. From the time, though I had not been kept very close contact or very frequent, it's Ramana who initiated me, and he always had been with me. He has been with me, and I always had some reservation. Though I went to many saints, sat at their feet and drank the nectar of their grace, but nobody could take the place of Bhagavan in my heart. They will say, oh, you must have only one guru and you must have a living guru. My heart would be very aggressive. It would say, no, Bhagavan is my only guru, he is my only God, and nobody else is going to take that place in my heart. I used to think though I was in a satsang for more than 12 years, I loved that saint and he poured his grace, but all the time it was Ramana in my heart. And much later I went to Anandashram in Kanjangade. There was one Rajagopal ji who took me to Swami Sachidananda ji. That time, because I had to take care of my mother, I was frequently shifting between Delhi, Bangalore, like that. So that time again I was shifting back from Bangalore to Delhi. Then he said, why don't you talk to Swamiji? I said, no, it's not a problem there. I don't have really a problem that I want to talk out. No, just to go and tell him. So I went and sat at his feet, and Swamiji leaned forward. I said, Swamiji, I don't know where to locate myself. I want a comfortable place. I don't. Swamiji leaned forward and he said, and then, are you chanting any nama or have you taken any nama? He said, I got so scared that he is going to impose some nama on me and say that so and so is my Guru, this is your Guru mantra. I got so scared. Then I said, I rushed with my words saying, no, Bhagavan Ramana is my Guru. I only call out to Ramana only when I have. Then he said with such a beautiful smile, he said, Ramana is everything, he is everywhere. Whatever he is doing, take it as his way. Then you will have peace. He said that, that set my mind to total peace, that here is someone who is not going to impose any other guru on me. And that was really wonderful thing. So I am without conflict. Of course, I got initiated into Ram Nam and Swamiji's grace was poured on me. And later I was so surprised to find the connection between Ananda Ashram and Bhagwan and Papa Ramdas, and it was so comforting that it's Bhagwan who has sent me there, and he thinks I need a purification of a different sort. So I didn't have any conflict.